This podcast is a conversation by Julie Benetti and Susan Barbaro and is a production of VI Alliance, copyright 2019. And this chart-busting hit, Alone Leave Me, courtesy of New Threads, is available everywhere.
Hello, this is Susan, and I am here today with Madam Julie. Say hello, Julie.
Hello.
So we have had quite a conversation today about the people versus energy.
And it's not a court case.
Well, one would question, is it a, I don't want to say a case, but is it a case to be discussed?
It's a case of the supreme level.
So we're sitting here talking about, our own experiences. We talk about ourselves, and we don't share that with you because, who the heck really cares about Julie's life or Susan's life,
Sometimes
right?
we don't even care.
No, but when you go out there and you go out in life, and the book that we wrote, Energetic Invocations, a book of vibrational change, really had to do with quieting everything out there so we could allow ourselves to hear ourselves. Because when we talk about ourselves, we're also talking about our subconscious and our higher selves. I mean, we also have another podcast, it's free, that is Ancient Texts, that deals with, we start going into some of these texts that go way back, some of them not so far back, and we expand upon them and we discuss and we have a conversation. And I think, we bring that into what we're talking about. And if you quiet everything outside and you go inside yourself and you open up to the energy and it speaks to you, that becomes very addictive.
It does.
And very empowering. And it's fun to be in that space. You grow, you learn, and when you're in that space, you know that the energy always has your back. Always. I mean, you and I have been in situations together as well as individually that anything could have occurred and we were always taken care of.
Right.
And the minute you get out of the space of energy and you go to people, well, all of a sudden it brings you out of it, and I'll say, quote, reality kicks in, but is it really reality?
And, it's funny because when you were mentioning the Ancient Text podcast, I was thinking, we look at Lao Tzu, Tao Te Ching, we look at As a Man Thinketh, and we're right now discussing the power of your subconscious mind, and really, it's not really related to people. It's related to a part of it, but it's not a conversation of people. It's more a conversation of the energy in each one. I mean, there's thoughts, and there's conditions, the Tao, and there's, going with the flow and energy, and your mind, but it's not specifically related to people. And whenever you extricate the people part, which sounds really funny because we're all people.
People. At least we think so.
At least we think so, exactly. When you extricate the people part, I mean, you get back to remembering, that you forgot you're also energy. And the energy part is kind of, the always present, volatile and intense part of you that's exploring and learning and growing, and yet the physical part is because you're here and what you're accessing, and the people all around you, sure, there's people, yet that's also energy. And so it depends on how you want to look at it.
Well, it's funny you say that, because when we first met and we talked about things, the standing joke between us is you're always in the energy. Your head's in the clouds. You're up there in that space, and you prefer to stay there, and you always you're so grounded. You always tell me you're so grounded. So when we look back on the Ancient Text podcast, we do talk about the energy, yet I know that I still bring it to today's world.
You bring it to the people.
I bring it to the people because I live here. I have to live here. And I think that the issues, if I want to call them, that I try to interpret based on the reading that we've done is because I try to move in that space, and I think everybody else does too.
Well, it's useful to extrapolate it and interject it with the people, yet it's also very powerful to remember that you're also energy. Because, the people part kind of involves a lot of intricacies of, you take things personally, emotions, feelings, all that other kind of stuff. And, I'm not saying I'm not people, although I often do say I'm not people.
You do. We all start to wonder, Julie, really what you are, where you're from.
Yet energy is all around us, and when you're catching vibrations and sensations and you're getting the energy part of it, to me that's more intense and more where life and living and where just the flow of everything is.
And I'm not disagreeing with you. I think the hardest part is staying in that space of remembering, of knowing what you know. So number one, it's staying in the space, and number two, it's trusting that you know. Because, we were talking about so many different things. Even this new idea we have about a new book, about bringing in a different way of seeing life and approaching it and writing about it in a fictional way for children. Mm-hmm. And with that, you sit back and you try to think about, how do I stay in that space and how do I trust it? Because we get things. We all get things. I mean, hello, everyone knows what deja vu means. Mm. Everybody knows what it's like to, relive, like you relived something. And I think we get things all the time. I think we can stay in it for a moment, say, oh, blah, blah, blah. But, and then you go into why it's, I must have misinterpreted, or it must be this, or it was something I ate, or I drank too much, or whatever it is.
Those are all people reasons.
Exactly. Well,
not energy reasons.
And so I think that's what part of it is the people part of us overtakes the energy part of us.
And perhaps we would say because we're here. The people
you
part
can't
overtakes
say that
the energy
that's
part.
Your word. You're making fun of me because I always tell you, we're here.
Right.
You're here, so that's not a mistake.
But are you here? I didn't say it's a mistake, but are you really here?
Of course you are here. That doesn't mean I'm limiting to you. Just
But it's
here.
not just you that's here. It's all of you that's here. It's not just the physicality of you.
Exactly.
It's the physicality, it's the energy, it's your connection, it's your sourceability.
What the hell's that mean? What are you trying to
Not
tell
environmental
me?
sourceability.
What the hell are you
It's your
telling
sourceability.
me?
It's your connection as you go to the Kabbalah, go to the Kabbalion. I mean, it's the balance.
Can we
of the
say
two?
there's two separate ones we're talking about? She just said the Kabbalion, which is another podcast that we have, and the Kabbalah, which we do not have a podcast, but that will show up at in ancient texts. But I'm saying that not to be funny, but yet it is kind of funny because there are two separate bodies of work, the Kabbalion and the Kabbalah, that talk about going from energy into a physicality. And yet you don't lose. It's almost like the DNA of energy starts at one point and follows you through. And at this point, we can manifest it. We can. Science looks at the physical part. What you hear, what you see, what you taste, what you feel, what you smell. But we take away that whole other side of it, and there's a science that backs up all of that. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that I also know that we are here, and that's a part of the whole.
Of course, why wouldn't it be? That's part of our illusion as well.
Oh, gosh, she's a pain in the neck.
And so in the sensation of being here, you're also always an energetic being. And that has been said in many ways, shapes, and forms. You're also always an energetic being. Yet, the physical kind of sort of takes precedence.
Well, it's what we can that's your conscious mind. And that's what we think is in charge. And to a degree it is, in terms of what you tell your subconscious.
Right.
But the subconscious, and what Joseph Murphy calls the infinite intelligence, which is the all, which is the part that's connected to everything, is what really dictates everything that occurs.
And it's funny because doesn't that kind of take you back to the symbolic description of yin yang? You have the unconscious, the conscious, or the subconscious and conscious, and the circle.
There you go.
Which is the entirety.
That's what you want to say.
Which is the entirety of everything. and your connection to it all and how you're existing and how we're all existing in that
So
sphere
when you
of
say that,
consciousness, perhaps?
That's where I say you can't deny the physical. I'm not saying the physical is all of it. You have the energetic. There's both. There's the yin, there's the yang. Embrace both of it.
But I can't deny the physical because I'm here physically.
That's
I
right.
can't deny the energetic.
No, and I'm not suggesting that you do. Why you look at me like you want to laugh? There she goes, folks. She
Because
wants
you
to
said
laugh.
no, which is funny because you can't you can't deny the physical because
course
who in their right mind would deny the physical? Hello, oops, I just pinched myself. So I'm here physically, I get it. Yet you're also here energetically. You can't deny the energetic. And when you go to your intent, to your feelings, to your sensations, to the vibrations, to the energy, to your intuition, that's where everybody gets excited about psychic energy, about magic, about the power of, us, or, in all the Marvel, whatever movies that are coming out, and, the superheroes and all the superpowers that we have.
What do you think about
ourselves?
ghosts? Because,
That's where you go. I'm talking
yeah,
about
I'm going there because I think it's interesting because you're talking about the physical and the energetic, and they're kind of in a limbo spot because they are energy, because we're all energy, yet they're not fully physical, that they're here. I can poke your knee, say ouch.
Ouch.
Okay, I can poke your knee. I can't poke a ghost's knee, but yet there's a semblance of a physicality. I just think that's
how do you know
interesting.
you can't poke a ghost knee?
Well, I haven't seen a ghost. As much as I say this stuff, I've never seen one. I keep thinking in the corner of my eye, maybe if I see it, I'll catch it. But it hasn't happened yet.
But then you're going to what a definition of a ghost is. Who defined that? Did you define it, or does someone define it for you? And if you think about presence, and you think about energy, and you think about time, and perhaps all time existing at once, where didn't Einstein kind of talk about that a little bit? All time existing at once, and you think about time travel, what are you really seeing? And if all existences and realities are existing at once, then what are you trying to pinch?
I'm just trying to be simple and go to the ghost that might exist in a basement, in a space, and I'm using that as an example of the physical and the energetic. That's all I'm trying to do. And you're so good. You go in this big dissertation. I'm simple. A simple person with a simple understanding of, even with that, there is a piece of physical and energetic. I agree with you that most people go into just the physical and their five senses and what science says and what's dictated as law, and that's what most people go by. And if they can't prove X, Y, or Z, then X, Y, and Z cannot exist. And you and I sit there and kind of laugh because nothing is set in stone, because things change all the time. We have studies all the time that counter claim what was said before. It's always changing. And so, all these things we bring together, I'm not going to go into any specific, and it goes into that space of, so everything that everyone says, this is the way it is, this is the way it has to be, I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. And you know something? I challenge anyone to come up and give us some proof of anything that can absolutely not be contraindicated. I challenge them. And you know something? I've had a lot of people tell me that they don't agree or whatever. They agree, they don't agree. Not through the podcast. These are just general conversations, and I kind of laugh because every single time there's no truth to anything. Everything changes all the time. So in my mind, I just know the truth is always changing, and the truth doesn't really exist. And so the only thing is that we're a part of everything.
And you have to move with it. So if the truth is constantly changing and change is constant, you have to move with it in order to ascertain what aspects of the truth you're willing to move with.
So all I can say is that, to embrace one and not to embrace the other, you lose. You just lose. Because eventually what's going to happen is the physical is not that the physical is going to change in terms of people, but there's going to be a movement of the energetic coming forward. And if you don't understand it and you don't move with it, nothing bad's going to happen, but you're not going to get it.
Well, you'll stay as people rather than moving as energy, when in fact, you're both. Thank you for listening to this production from EI Alliance. Check out our Amazon authors pages for books and podcasts. Find New Threads music and their latest album on iTunes, Spotify, and newthreads.us.